Dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum. I can't sing the Overwatch tune, but here we are with yet another episode of Radio Rothingham, the world's least professional podcast on the planet. And this week it's even less professional because one of our regular co-hosts isn't here. And it's none other than Xaverius. Because right now he's kind of being a whiny little bitch. You know, yesterday I was like...
I'd laugh even harder if he just entered the call as you just said that. And
that would have been great. But yeah, yesterday it was all like, oh yeah, no, I can't do an episode today because I'm going to make pictures of the red moon. And then when I was dead...
I'm going to stop you there. It's the blood moon.
Oh yeah, it was a very bloody moon. It was so bloody that I decided to go out for a stroll, a little stroll, and there was blood everywhere. The blood was dripping all over my face and on my clothes. I was like, God fucking damn it! Do you have any idea how hard it is to get blood out of your clothes? Also, maybe this blood has HIV. What if I have AIDS now?
Wait, how would the moon get AIDS?
Wouldn't the moon have super AIDS?
Well, are you looking at the moon at all times, Sekele? Do you ever take your eyes off the moon? What if the moon is on the other side of the planet? Do you know where it's been? For all we know, it's been fooling around with some other moon. You don't know.
Wouldn't our gravity kinda reflect that?
Nah, this is probably one of those ninja moons that's really stealthy, and then they have the sexy times, and then turns out the ninja moon had HIV, and then which moon bleeds, and then we all have HIV. G fucking G. So much for the moon being made of cheese. That's incorrect. The moon is made out of HIV. Like pure HIV. Like the moon is literally built from HIV virus cells. Well, virus cells aren't really cells, but they're like... So yeah, that's quite a terrifying image actually. Like an entire plant made of viruses. Like pure virus. Viri. But yeah, so yeah, to properly introduce, so we got, of course, the best co-host on the planet, Mr. Artrix, it's me. We actually got our token female with us, it's the Astra.
Hello.
Or otherwise known as Frau Astra.
Yes.
Freud. I don't actually know what the proper pronunciation is. Frau, Freud, probably Frau Astra. And we got Sekele.
Never in my life would I think that I will hear something about planetary space AIDS ninjas.
Mm-hmm. Well, now you do. Ray Rothingham, where no topic is truly taboo, I guess. Also, before we go on, I should probably tell what's her face, Curdy, that yes. Oh, I already did. Cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, here's a picture of Astra's current setup, which is very quite something. So, yeah, it's a router on top of her computer, and.
Like, why did you show that?
Well, I'm not doxing you unless someone can triangulate your location just by your, power sockets. And actually, if they manage to dox you just by that picture, it's worth it. I'll give them €20 if they manage to triangulate your location using just that one picture. And before they just take the metadata from the picture.
I was about to say, let's check the photo of when it was sent how it was sent and the IP that was sent with through
Mhm.
Discord. And,
Yeah.
oh,
Well, okay. So I potentially lose 20 quid. That's a price worth paying. Anyway, this time around I'm drawing the one and only Hammond, the most handsome hamster ever conceived. Like Hamtero, he's ain't got shit on this motherfucker. Like this hamster is truly a beast. Because he's piloting a giant mech that can destroy everything with a functioning cardiovascular system. So, actually, let's start off this episode with just that. So, Overwatch, new hero. I actually played him in exactly one quick play match, and it was one where we won, even though I was doing quite shit. Like, I think it was Rialto. And I got kind of lucky in the first point, or at least, yeah. Because there's like the section with the bridge. So I was just wrecking balling around, as you do as wrecking ball. And well, I successfully knocked off a few people. So GG me. So that helped. That stopped them for 20 seconds. And then they beat the shit out of our team. And then we just stumbled around for another 3 minutes or so, and I was doing fuck all, and then they ran out of time and we won. GG.
neat. I think I've played him on the PTR where it was just buggy as fuck and had no skins whatsoever. It was like, well, what's the point of having him about the skins? That's what everybody waiting for. And he is fantastic to play with if you're doing the King of the Hill type maps.
Yeah, because you can just, swing around and knock people off the map. Though I will say that, when you're playing Wrecking Ball or just Hammond, let's just call him Hammond because I think Wrecking Ball is a fucking terrible name for a hero. I mean, it just doesn't roll off the tongue. You're on voice comms and you're like, someone take care of that Wrecking Ball. All other heroes is like take down the tracer, look out for the widow, their soldier, he's going to have visor. It's simple direct language. With Wrecking Balls, like you can't really shorten it to ball. You can just say, okay, take out ball, because it doesn't
take out sphere, take out 3D circle. I don't know.
Take out spherical geometric shape. No, that just doesn't work. Just call him Hammond. Just call it what it is.
Hamster ball.
Or just call him Hamtero. Or just call him Hamtero. That works too usually. I mean, although to be fair, calling him Hamtero doesn't do him justice because Hammond is way more handsome than Hamtero. I mean, just look at him. I mean, Hamtero is. Oh, go ahead. You were kind of roboting. Go ahead, Astra.
Oh right, I was saying that in before you having a thing for a hamster.
Nah. Don't worry about it. I'm not that kind of person. I mean, I may be into loot things and everything, but not hamsters.
Artrix is not that kind of girl.
Yes. I'm not that kind of girl. But seriously, if I were a girl and had to choose between Hammond and Hamtero, I would pick Hammond in an instant. Because Hamtero's like, oh yeah, look at the pansy little hamster. He's kawaii and all, but he's also pansy. And then there's this Hammond, and it's like this big bird. No, if you look at Hammond as in the character model, he's way too fucking big to be in hamster. Like proportionally, the hamster should be a lot smaller than the Wrecking Ball. But it's fucking Overwatch and fuck realism. So Hammond is.
supposedly genetically modified.
Oh yeah, good excuse. He's genetically modified, crisis averted. He's just, he big because genetics. He's just big boned. He's not fat. Stop calling him fat. He's actually a fat fuck. But yeah, that makes sense. I guess he's just genetically modified.
No, it's not because he's fat. It's because he's holding his food in his cheek packs. Have you ever owned a hamster? Have you even seen a hamster? Have you seen them eat? They don't eat. They just hold them in their mouths until they die because of lack of starvation. Because they're holding all their food in their cheek packs.
Well, you see, Hammond is a very advanced hamster because he doesn't just store it in his cheeks. He also stores his big fat guts, which is incidentally stored as fat. But that's the advanced part. For in the hamster world of things, that's a very advanced technology to be able to store your food as fat. I mean, all the other hamsters must feel pretty silly. They spend all their time hoarding food in their mouths, and then Hammond comes along and says, "Whatever told you can just get fat, and then you don't have to store food in your cheeks. You can just be fat, and then use it some other time." Until he actually wants to do exercise, then he discovers that he's a fat fuck and his physical condition is really bad and he can't run for shit. No, only exacerbated because he spends all his time in a fucking mech suit. So why the fuck would you even bother with exercise if he wants to get groceries? He has two choices: scatter around like a hamster, or just use a big fucking giant mech. But the choice is pretty obvious. You just get there in your mech. It's also a lot easier because you're a fucking hamster. You're small. It's easier to reach tall shelves as a hamster in a big fucking mech. And he's certainly a lot more intimidating. That one guy that always blocks the entire aisle. No problem. You just shoot his face and he's dead. It doesn't matter. You can now pass. Mm-hmm. It kind of makes you wonder how he gets away with all these murder charges. But then turns out, there's no real law prohibiting a hamster from killing everything. So, police comes up to him and say, "Oh, you can't do that." And then Hammond goes, "I'm a hamster."
And he goes and kills him because he's a hamster.
Yeah, I'm not a citizen. I don't even have a social security number. Oh. Yeah, you're actually right. There's no... Well, according to law, then the police officer goes up to him and says, "Well, yeah, according to law, whenever an animal goes batshit insane, we can just kill it and be done with it." But then Hammond just goes ahead and kills everyone in the store. So eventually, no one but Hammond gets to live.
No witnesses.
Yeah, just all he needs to do is just kill all witnesses. He can just go on his merry way. But yeah, certainly a very interesting character. I will say that whenever the enemy team is a Brigitte, Brigitte, she can really fuck up your day because she can just stun you all the fucking time, and so you're just doing your thing, being a wrecking hamster, and then Brigitte's like, "Nope, stun," and then Lizard comes around and says, "Yeah, okay, but there's one more second cooldown on that ability." So she gets to use her stun every 7 seconds now instead of 6, which used to be as low as 5. So that they're really recognizing that Brigitte's stun is it is quite powerful.
Yes, it is. After like the half hour that I played her, and I've been out Bridget by the other Bridget because their cooldown has cooled down quicker.
No, that's physically impossible. It just means that you've been mismanaging your stuns.
That's what I've been doing because I've only had like half an hour on her, but I realised that it is overpowered because of the amount of times I can be stunned. Having that kind of one-to-one battle where it's gonna good, I don't know, 20 seconds of a battle between her and me,
Mhm.
and you do get stunned a fair bit, and it does fuck you up because you're holding your shield down, and because you're stunned, you're down the shield. You're like a free target because you're.
Yep. A 1v1 with Bridget is basically whoever gets the first stun wins. Unless, of
Yeah.
course, one of your teammates intervenes, then the skills change. But every second Bridget is dealing damage. She heals herself. She heals her teammates. And if she gets a stun on you, that's one more second you're not dealing damage and therefore not healing yourself and your teammates. Which is why Anna's anti-nade is so powerful against Bridget, because the moment you're anti-naded as Bridget, you're basically, you can still deal damage and everything, but you're not getting any heals out of it. So you're just bleeding HP until someone finishes the job, or you manage to get away and regain your healing ability. But usually, go ahead.
Well, talking about the Pocket Mercy and healing and just having constant, abundant of healing, it reminds me of when I did choose Bridget for the first time, and I was just fucking around with her. One of the teammates that we teamed up with the fantastic new feature of what was it called?
Looking for group.
Group. I was gabbing for group. Looking for group. It's a fantastic feature, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mercy hitting me. It was just like a 4 versus 2. It was half the team, the enemy team, after me while on the payload. That stalled a hell of a lot of time for everybody to get back to the point, because I think half the team got killed, if I can remember correctly, and I had a Doomfist, a soldier, and I think a Reinhardt at the same time on me with, I can't remember what the fourth person was, and she was just so versatile with that mercy on her. It's the abundant amount of healing just shitting out.
Which is, it's also stacked with your healing. So
Yeah.
not only is mercy healing you, but you're also healing yourself and the mercy.
Time.
I mean, that's the thing. Mercy doesn't get any healing from... For instance, I remember when they released Moira. I played some Moira and I had a mercy just pocketing the shit out of me. So not only was... Go ahead.
Didn't Mercy at least at some point have natural regeneration?
Yeah, but it only kicks in every 3 seconds. So as Mercy, whenever you're not taking any damage for 3 seconds, you start to regenerate health at, I think, 30 HP per second. So yeah, as a Mercy, it's imperative to not take any damage, and if you do, just get out of line of fire, stay there for at least 10 seconds, and you're probably good to go. And they actually changed the ultimate, so if you're in a pinch and you have at least 50 HP left, you can pop your ult flying around and you regen health no matter, you do it constantly. There's no cooldown on it. Like usually your passive will take 3 seconds to kick in, but in a Valkyrie state, she'll do it instantly.
I keep forgetting that, and I'm shooting at the Ulting Mercy. It's doing fuck all, and I'm thinking, why is it doing fuck all?
Don't bother, because it's hard to hit a Ulting Mercy, and the only hero that should attempt to take the only hero that should attempt to take down a Mercy while she's in Valkyrie is one with incredible burst damage, like Widowmaker. I would say Junkrat even, but Junkrat doesn't have the range.
He does if you're at a good height, but his grenades curve quite easily. So unless you can predict where she's going and where your grenade is going to land, it's fucking hard. I've tried it, and that's why it's hard.
Most of the times, it's much easier to just ignore the Ulting Mercy and focus on the enemies on the ground. Yeah, but still, that's fairly easy to get out of. The number of times I have been killed by a Ulting Mercy have been very low, because even though her weapon has unlimited ammo and whatnot, it still is usually too low to take you out, unless you're already kind of low and it's just a finishing blow. I mean, not to say that it happens, that never happens, because it obviously does, but yeah, and an Ulting Mercy is usually more of a problem in the sense that she does a lot of healing than one of okay, she's going to take us down, because even good mercies aren't exactly strong enough to take down. That mercy isn't really designed to take down enemies. I mean, she does 20 damage per second with her weapon, and it can only be effective if you hit every single shot. But most heroes have far more damage per second to take her out. So, but then again, of course, when you are Mercy and you're all by yourself, don't be afraid to whip out that weapon and try and get an elimination, because your weapon does a surprising amount of damage. It's just not very reliable, and as Mercy should be focusing on healing and all on doing damage. Unlike, for instance, Moira, where she even needs to deal damage just in order to be able to heal. But then again, there's plenty of DPS Moiras that think they can take down the entire enemy team, not realizing that their attack only does something like 30 damage per second. Which is still pretty good, to be honest. Like, if you compare it to Mercy's, that's a fair amount of DPS, but don't expect, don't be DPS Moira, that's what I'm saying. Just don't. Have you ever played Moira?
I did a few times. I did like her, but I don't know, it's just not really a support hero. And then I was introduced to Butch, and then I was like, yeah, I think I should use go to support a bit more.
I mean,
she's been forcing me to in past games, like. If spot is now used and you're forced into support Astra, you can't go Torbjorn, you can't go Junkrat, you can't go
it's almost like actually playing Overwatch.
Oh my god, you're forcing me into something like teamwork and I can't think today.
Actually working as a team, oh my god. But yeah, generally speaking, Overwatch this is a game where in order to be a good asset to any team, you should at least be able to play one hero in every category. Anyone who basically goes mentally retarded the moment they pick something that's not in their niche is gonna be useless one way or another. Because once you see it a lot with Mercy mains, when they inevitably get into a situation where someone else is already the Mercy main. So you got two. Oh my god, you got two Mercy mains on the same team. You get some interesting situations where one of them is forced to play a role that they're not comfortable with, and there's some videos floating around where they end up just yelling at one another because, oh my god, you're such a terrible Mercy main. If I were the Mercy, I would have done so much better than you. And like, shut the fuck up and just try to play the game. What I'm saying, what I'm saying is don't become a Mercy main. Just don't.
Don't worry, I've my Mercy days are long gone. after the nerf that she had and the complete overhaul.
Yeah, and generally speaking, I don't really care about playing Mercy. There was in my early days playing Overwatch, it was kind of my go-to character when it came to healing, but I quickly realized, well, I think after that I switched to Anna because not only she's more, she requires more skill, but you also get so much more value out of her if you play her right. You can do some insane healing with Anna if you actually hit your shots, and you can basically keep entire teams of tanks just alive forever. The entire enemy.
Where she had like a speed boost because of her being a smaller character or something.
I think the most recent buff she's gotten is where Anna can now nano boost her target. For one thing, she can now shoot through allies that are fully healed. So you're not wasting any ammo on allies that are already fully healed.
Same with what May's had in the past, where she can shoot through targets and hit multiple targets now. And now she has no fall-off damage.
Yeah.
So pretty fucked if you're quite a way away and you see someone like, I've just frozen them and my ult, and because she lobs it quite a distance, she don't have to be right up in their face anymore. They can shoot from a distance if they're aiming.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. Here's the thing. In order to actually get someone frozen, she needs to be at a fairly close distance to begin with. So I think even before the buff, if you just manage to use your ultimate, it doesn't matter where the enemies are. They are sure to be within your lethal range to begin with. I mean the damage fall off is at ranges that would be more apt for characters like Widow. So basically she became like Widow without a scope. I also think her shots don't do that much damage. I mean, Widow's shots do enough damage to take out a fully healed character. So that would be at least 200 HP when it connects with someone's head. So.
Well, apparently May is a good counter to Hammond.
Oh yeah.
Well,
she's basically designed to annoy and slow down characters, and one thing that you don't want to happen to you when you're playing Hammond is for anyone to slow you down.
Not just to slow you down, but it's to put the barrier in the way as well, the ice wall. Where you're swinging around, you just bash into the ice wall.
Oh yeah, like I said,
fuck you! I'm trying to build up momentum here, and got a giant ice cube in my face.
Yep, that's May. Her job is to slow you down, to annoy you, to put obstacles in your way. She's just one big annoyance, and a good May player is able to maximize shit out of that.
Oh fuck yeah! We've had good Mays on our team, and we've had Mays are just dicks, obviously. Just block the doorway as soon as you try and exit. And you have really bad Mays where you're trying to... frustrating. Where you're trying to go into a certain area and they block it off because they think that, the enemy won't take advantage of this. But... yeah.
Well, some Mays are just completely locked into tunnel vision, and they're zoned into a single enemy, and they don't realize that they're maybe impeding the rest of the team, which is why playing May is probably one of those roles where you want to have like voice comms, because you can instantly let them know, oh wait, that wall is actually impeding my progress. Don't remove it. They can just press E again, and the wall will disappear. But
like in point B in Hanamura, she's great when I'm Torbjorn and I say, hey, boost me up onto the right hand side, the high points. And if you have a competent May who will do that, the turret, it's fantastic. Really, it is. But now that Symmetra is able to put her teleporter anywhere, I don't have to rely on a fucking May who's incompetent. And it's like, nah, I'm just gonna fuck around the doorway, or I've just switched off May. I was like,
Well,
what?
that still requires a fair bit of. That probably requires voice comms as well. You can't really. I mean, you
I've
can.
tried
Oh, God.
chat as well. It works, but
Now, the thing about it is that it only works once because you can, discuss that at the beginning of the match, the start of the match. But once the match is in full swing, you don't really have time to go ahead and just type in the entire plan while things are playing out. That's, at that point, it's all so fast paced that you should probably just be on voice comms anyway.
yeah.
Anyway, to get back to Hammond. Very interesting character. I don't think I've seen anything quite like him in this genre of games. I mean,
No.
I'll tell you a dirty little secret. I've been playing a fair bit of. I've been telling a fair bit of Paladins recently, and well, I have to admit that the game has certainly matured quite a bit since the last time I played it. Like, it certainly doesn't feel as unfinished as it used to be. Also, it's got a fair bit of waifus, but that was always already kind of a selling point of Paladin, so nothing new there. But yeah, it doesn't quite have a character like Hammond still. And they don't know. Like, they got a lot of mechanics that are kind of like Overwatch. They also got some things that are completely different. For instance, there's this character named Torvar, who basically shoots out a beam that instead of pulling people in one spot like Zarya's ultimate, you can basically just push people off the stage. You can just point and click and you'll just fly away. So if you're at the edge of a ledge or anything, you'll just you'll just fly away really far away and you have no way to recover. So and then the game's full of interesting things like that. So in a lot of ways, yes, Paladins is a lot like Overwatch, and I can certainly see where the whole notion that it's basically an Overwatch clone comes from. But it also does a lot of things in a very unique way that I don't think I've seen quite the same way in Overwatch. Most notably the oh, hold on, wrong layer. Let's not do that.
No, don't go into pitch.
No, I fixed it, don't worry.
Oh, okay.
There we go. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with this. It's just a observation. Like, okay, Hammond is quite unique, and I don't think I've encountered it in any other game. Not with a sufficient number of similarities. Like the concept of turning into a wrecking ball, I don't think I've seen it quite the same way. Well, I think I've seen the concept in another game, as in the wrecking ball mechanic, but not in a first-person shooter, as far as I know. But yeah, it's definitely gonna take he's they gave him a 3-star rating as for difficulty, and that's definitely on point. He's definitely not a character that you can just pick up and be good at instantly. It's going to take some practice. Like Brigitte was a character you can pick up, you play her for a match or two, and you know Brigitte. There's maybe room for some refinement, but as they call it, the skill floor is really low. So yeah, like I said, it's a character you pick up, you play her for an hour or so, and you know how to Brigitte. It's not hard. Wrecking Ball, yeah, definitely going to take more than just an hour to get good at. I mean, it took me quite a bit to get good at Zarya. But when you get good at Zarya, oh boy, you can really make or break a match. you can dominate an entire match. But that's probably one of the interesting things about Zarya is that even she can shit out a lot of damage, but she's not really played as a damage dealer. She's kind of like a manager. So you're on the work floor, and you're just looking out at your employees, and you're like, oh, you're going to do that thing. If you do it, it usually works pretty well when voice comes. So you're like, okay, this guy is about to die. Put a shield on him. Okay, he's not dying. Good. Okay, I'm being shot. I'll put a shield on me. Oh, got all this charge now. Okay, I'll kill this guy over here. Now they've got a lot of charge, and I got an ultimate. Hanzo, go over there, and we'll do this together. You definitely need a really good game sense to be playing Zarya. And interestingly, in Paladins, there's a character that does something very similar, but she's a healer. So instead of a big burly tank, it's just a really small healer that can essentially do the same thing.
Yeah, because Paladins is just a giant rip-off of Overwatch. Everybody knows that. Even they know that.
Yeah, except that the ultimate works slightly differently, and like I said, it's a support character that does the ultimate.
Yeah.
I mean, they got a character that's almost exactly the same as Pharah, but he's a dragon, and instead of shooting a metric shit ton of rockets, he just becomes a rocket that can take out a single target. Like, he does 100% of a character's maximum health. So it basically means, anyone hit by his ultimate will die. But that is if he manages to hit his strike, because he can still be killed en route. So basically what you want to do if you hear his battle cry, you just shoot him before he can hit his target, and you'll be fine. So what I'm saying is, if you're playing Drogoz, that's the name of the character, don't be in a situation where you can easily be shot down by DPS, because it's gonna make you look pretty silly. Also in that game there's a character named Vivian, and she is arguably the most OP ultimate that I've ever seen. So essentially she gains 2 rocket launchers. She's kind of like a mid to long range Soldier 76, except she can't run. And the ultimate spawns 2 turrets that follow her all around, and she basically deals even more damage. But here's the thing: it's not temporary. They just spawn, and they stay there until they're destroyed or if she's killed. So if you got a really good team that's pocketing the shit out of you, you can just keep dealing a shit ton of damage, and no one can do anything about it.
Just like Farah, because no one's doing fuck all about her.
No, except that if Farah ultimate, she'll be stationary, and it takes one snipper to just snip, and she's gone. And she's a very easy target when she's ulting.
Yeah.
Unless your team is shit, then maybe
9
not.
times out of 10, the team is shit, and because no one's managing the Farah, and someone changed to oh fucking hell, I can't think today. A DPS with
Hit scan hero.
scan. That's it. I can't think tonight.
We sure as hell need a widow in a McCree, in a soldier, in a Hanzo. Basically all goes hit. No, wait a minute, Hanzo isn't hit scan, but he's also very good at taking out Pharahs if he's competent. Like 1 or 2 Hanzo arrows can just delete Pharah. But in especially lower tiers, Pharah is very problematic. But apparently she's very she doesn't survive all that long in the higher tiers of play. Like most people in higher tiers are like, oh yeah, there's a Pharah, okay, go hit scan, okay, she's dead. In part because she tends to make fairly predictable movements. Like it takes a really good Pharah to actually make the maneuvers that are hard to snipe. Because that's really the big downside of being Pharah. You since you're in the air and you have fairly limited moveset, you can be sniped rather easily. So yeah. Anyway, we've been talking about Overwatch for 40 minutes.
Jesus fucking Christ! Let Sekele say something.
Yes. So you know what? That's enough about Hammond. So go ahead, Sekele. Give us a topic.
Which one do you want? The one about Butch Hartman?
Yeah, let's talk about Butch Hartman. Because it's relevant to Astra's interest quite a lot, actually.
Okay, I am now intrigued. You have my attention.
You've got Astra's undivided attention right now. Because if you don't mind me saying, didn't you used to be like a moderator at Butch's E-Zine, E-Site, E-Zone?
Yeah, it was like his official, air quotes, bulletin board back in, when was it?
It was like Discord, before Discord.
Yes! It was like a bulletin board, like Reddit, but...
I think most people are aware of what bulletin boards are. I mean, they're still around. They're mostly called forums, but...
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes.
But Sekele, what about Butch Hartman, and why should we care?
Time ago, well, relatively long time ago, Butch Hartman started a fundraiser for a new streaming service.
Because those don't exist as of yet. No one. There's no streaming.
Say something like, before that he basically said like how he had problems with some media. He wanted to create a streaming platform that would give the creators more creative freedom, and of course people gave him money. He raised quite a lot of money, and like very late into the whole fundraising thing, he came out and said, "Oh yeah, and by the way, a Christian streaming service."
This is a Christian server. No swearing. This Christian server.
Well, as you can imagine, the internet lost their shit.
Because it was.
Well.
It's promoting Christianity, which I actually don't think is inherently the problem. It's more like he knew that it's kind of controversial. You don't really... Christianity isn't quite as big as it used to be. And
it's not just that, it's also the fact that he's taken this amount of time to announce that there's going to be a Christian server. At the same time, he's not been 100% truthful to his followers, to the patrons, whatever you want to call them, supporters. And they're giving him money to make this creative outlet where they hopefully will see some decent quality animations or productions, whatever it might be, to be put onto a network that's not all restricted or child friendly, but I don't know.
Well, I think that was kind of his original angle, that was gonna be very child friendly, wholesome family fun and whatnot.
Yeah, it was supposed to be family oriented, but at the same time also like give creators freedom to do things they wouldn't be able to do elsewhere, which is technically true.
Yeah, so what I wonder now is, so what's Butch's vision of quote-unquote Christian entertainment? Because I think that's kind of the crux of the problem. What is intended? What's his intentions here?
I don't think he actually gave any major details.
Yeah, but
Butch Hartman was never secretive about the fact that he's a rather religious person.
Yeah, everyone in the modern knows that he's kind of a Christ fag. I mean, even as early as like the mid 2000s or even the early 2000s, it was, obvious obvious as shit that oh yeah, he's a Bible thumper. Like I'm pretty sure Astra remembers that on his forums he would ramble quite a bit about Christianity and now about how it gave him strength and whatnot. Like oh yeah, I made all these cartoons and I've got to thank for it. I'm like, God hasn't really done your animations. What are you talking about? But hey, if he wants to believe that, no, sure, more power to him, I guess. I mean, when he gets like a terminal disease and then goes to the hospital, I guess they can tell him, oh yeah, well it's God will cure you. You don't need modern medicine. I mean, that's just great. It's just. Go ahead.
That extreme, yeah.
No, well, that's kind of the weird thing about Butch. Like Christianity, obviously, is very high on his list of priorities. I have to say though that generally speaking, doesn't really shine through in his work. Like watch any of his shows and you don't really get the impression that it's made by Bible thumper. If he was or thumper, that is thumper isn't. Go ahead.
There is the fact that in Danny Phantom, all the ghosts be like alternate units. Like the official explanation was that they were creatures from a different dimension rather than dead people. Although many of the writers still wrote them like that.
Yeah, I mean, whether there wasn't intention or not, it was freaking bloody obvious that they were all deceased people. Particularly, like, there was like one storyline where it was like a nerd that was bullied in school and supposedly died in school, so he became like a nerd ghost. We did a lot of nerding as a ghost, you see. If we thought nerds were awful, then just wait until you met Nerd Ghost, who will talk non-stop about one very insignificant detail from your very favorite franchise in excruciating detail, but it's wherever and you can escape it. That's kind of nerd we're talking about here. It's not someone on Reddit who'll basically just hammer on about a specific subject. This is something that's like eternal and forever. Like go to bed and you try to get some rest, but then he goes into your dream and you will continue to hammer on about this stupid subject in your dreams, and you wake up, you wonder what the fuck just happened. But then you realize what happened. It was the fucking nerd ghost. It was just in your dreams, just talking about all the insignificant little details that no one gives a fucking shit about. And now this stupid trivia is in your mind as well. You can't forget it. Like, I don't care about the last name of this insignificant character from Star Wars. I don't give a shit. Why do I remember this now? Please make it stop.
That does sound a lot like my dreams.
So nerd comes in your dreams and then they're just telling you all this insignificant meta about
not the nerd part, but definitely the part about stupid insignificant trivia.
Oh yeah, but that describes pretty much every dream. Dreams are weird like that.
Yeah, like not just the nerdy stuff, even like totally mundane stuff.
I had plenty of dreams where I get in a situation where sometimes you wake up, you can still kind of remember the dream, and you think to yourself, why the fuck did I do that? Like that was retarded. That then could have easily been avoided if I did otherwise. But then again, it's a dream, and people aren't exactly known for acting rationally and calmly in dreams because it's a dream. So it's like,
Yes, you are, unless you are a lucid dreamer.
I don't think I'm one of those. Whenever I'm in a dream, I'm not particularly aware that it's a dream. So unless that's not what a lucid dreamer is.
Lucid dreamer is basically someone who can control themselves and their dream while they have it.
I usually are kind of able to control it when I'm about to wake up. I remember some dreams where I'm about to wake up and then realize, oh wait, it's all just a fucking dream. But other than that, no. But when I'm really deep asleep, the dream pretty much controls everything, and I'm just a helpless observer. And
sometimes absurd situations.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a common theme in dreams, where the situations become just more and more absurd, and you wake up and you realize, damn, that was absurd. Didn't make any sense. And then you just forget about it. I don't remember a lot of my dreams. I might remember them just after I woke up, and then I take a shower and I've probably already forgotten it by the time.
You know what kind of dream is the worst?
What's the worst kind of dream?
The sort of dream where you think you figured something out, like you came to some important breakthrough, and you can remember it, but then you realize it's total bullshit.
It's like a cure for cancer. You've dreamt this, it's indisputable proof that it will destroy the cancer cells. You wake up and say, fuck! Can't remember it.
Yeah, but you have to remember that the meta in your dreams is probably different than the meta in real life. So the cure for cancer in your dream might have worked in the dreams meta, but not IRL.
Yeah.
Also real life meta is constantly changing too. So you think you've got, that's one of the reasons why it's so hard to find a good counter to cancer. For the longest time we thought we had no counter to cancer. Then we find something that might actually do something, but then the cancer's the meta's changing. So we're like, oh no, that this meta in the current meta this counter doesn't work anymore. So we need to find a new counter.
Well, I've been doing a bit of snooping around with his Butch Hartman's Kickstarter that's started it all. It's called Axis Entertainment.
The name is fucking retarded. What were you thinking, Butch?
Axis.
I
can't even pronounce it.
Yeah, you should not be able to struggle with the pronunciation of your brand. That's like rule number one in marketing. If you want to bring a brand out there, especially one that's gonna be consumed by a lot of people, it should be a brand that's really fucking easy to remember. And I can't even fucking remember the name of the streaming service even after you just said it. It's Oxam. There's an
XIS. I can't even.
All I know is that there's an X in it.
Yes.
That's it. And there's an O and an X, and
maybe because I am fucking tired, but it's one of those weird words that I don't know if I can pronounce properly. Probably variations of pronunciation. Anyway, I'm going through the comment section of the backers, and fair few of them are requesting, or probably demanding the money back.
Yeah, because they've even.
But it's basically a no attack.
I mean, it's lying by omission, so he didn't outright lie. But he did leave out details that a lot of people find to be fairly important.
Yes.
A fair number of people that backed his Kickstarter aren't exactly pleased to know that their money is going into funding a service that's heavily going to promote Christianity in one way or another.
Like for one example, one person's asking for their $250 backing back. Someone's asking for their $30, $5. I mean, $5 is nothing. I don't even know what that's equivalent to.
Maybe a loaf of bread and maybe some peanut butter, but
Mother
Yeah.
bunch, perhaps.
But it's the case that as soon as this information has been leaked, people are not happy, as you pointed out. It's proof. It's just there in the comment sections where people are wanting their money back.
and Butchman is having none of it. He basically got his money, and that's the downside of all these crowdfunding sites. Like, yeah, it's great when it works out, but there are so many ways it cannot work out, and one should always assume that if you back something on the crowdfunding site, that money's gonna be gone. You just throw money away with the chance that it might actually result in the thing that it's going to fund, but the chance is very high that it will not produce the thing that you want it to do. So I've always been kind of iffy about crowdfunders. I certainly never backed one myself.
There's any frequently asked questions. It's just one giant campaign with all this information that we don't know if it's going to work or not.
I personally don't think it's going to work.
He's asking for $250,000, which
that is not a lot.
first phase of the startup costs.
Yeah,
That's just stage one.
That's not going to be enough to start an entire streaming service. 250, but I have to give him credit though. I have to give him credit because there was this other guy on the internet. Can you believe it? On the internet, there was this other guy. He goes by the name of the mysterious Mr. M. No, mysterious Mr. Enter. Mr. Enter, and he also I need to use his voice, and he wants to start a new channel, and now channel cartoon series if you will, and it's gonna be a very original cartoon idea. It's never been done before. It's like a world where the kids are adults and the adults are kids, and it's
God, just use your fucking own voice for fuck's sake.
It's my opus magnum thingy, and it's gotta be great. And all I'm asking for is $350,000 to produce this pilot. But yeah, he's asking for close to $500,000 to produce one episode.
One episode.
Which
Just
is even in TV animation, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
like
$500,000. Was it a third of a million?
But you should know, Mr. Enter insists that children deserve good cartoons.
Oh yeah. Here's the kicker,
I
though.
can't understand the audacity of him even asking it for one episode.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Astra is Indiegogo is currently sitting in like 10K, whereas his goal is to 350,000. So that's 1/35 of his goal.
Jesus Christ.
Though I have to say that some of his stretch goals were really ridiculous. Like if you give him like $500 something, he'll put you as a background character, and people actually.
That's the same thing as what Butch Hartman's doing. One of the back ends is let's find it. Hold on, scrolling. Right. If you pledge $10,000, you become an animated character. It'd be voiced by you as well.
That can possibly end well. I think something similar happened to My Little Pony, where at one point they introduced like a background character that was so obviously an OC.
Yeah, I
and
remember.
I think
Daring Do episode.
It's something like that. And I think it was like a kid with super AIDS, and they were they were like, "Oh, we have such pity with you. You can have your OC in the episode." Might actually.
He was a qualified voice actor, or not qualified. He was an actor as well, so he had a decent acting voice to do the background character. He had like a line or two or something, interaction with the characters, and the whole fucking fandom went ballistic.
Hmm?
I remember that.
Well, I don't know about ballistic, but yeah, some people definitely took issue with it. I was more like I think I was already kind of on my way out when it came to the franchise. I was like, meh, whatever. I think it was like season 5 or 6, so you know, once you can't even remember the fucking season anymore, that you already know that the series is on its way out anyway. I mean, My Little Pony. I haven't even fucking watched any episodes since season. I can't remember. That's usually
6, but it's been like jumping episodes.
I think that's the same for me. I think I've watched a few episodes from season 6 and I just stopped watching.
I watched what was it? The couple of middle episodes, the first 2 with the baby, I think, and the last 2 where all the background characters and Discord and Save the Day.
Well, now that you mention it, what came before which? So there was the episode with the baby, and there was the episode where it turned out that there was something with Chrysalis and the changelings being able to be changed into goodlings or whatever. Was that the episode? Was that the same episode, or was it something unrelated?
That was the same episode, yes, because all the main 6 got captured by Chrysalis, and it was down to the background ponies to save the day, plus Discord, to save the day, and they learned a happy moral lesson thingy where what was it?
Something tells me. Oh yeah, I remember. Yes, they had to go into Chrysalis's hideout, and it was all background ponies, and eventually they managed to defeat the Discord. No, not Discord. The Chrysalis, who ended up being the only baddie, while all the changelings turned into goodlings. Turns out the changelings can be changed to be good.
Love conquers all kind of thing, where the only changeling who didn't want to be bad said, you know what, rather than taking love, I will distribute my love. And that's how they changed into...
because it turns out, you know, since they were basically just consuming love, and then they discovered, oh wait, we don't need to be destructive. We can just, you know, be not shitty people and just, just
everybody. It's just like saying that you don't judge a book by its cover kind of thing. I think I couldn't get the more give the main concept of the episode very well, but something to do with second chances.
Yeah, but yeah, personally, when they started the whole shit with the interactive map and everything, the whole series just became kind of stale to me. Like but it's kind of to be expected, because the show started as like a passing affection. Where it's kind of interesting, you know. You got soul story building and whatnot.
Hi, bye. I just found that today is the 14th anniversary of Zygo.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
It's basically a shitty, creepy pasta meme.
Oh yeah, Zalgo. I remember. Isn't it where the weird thing with letters came from? Like someone would post someone would post a shitty copy pasta where the letters just look really weird, and anyway, we should probably bring up because I don't think there's much to add about this whole debacle with Butch Hartman. I mean,
no, that's
which one do you want now? The Egyptian sarcophagus or the tigers in Czech Republic?
Let's go with the sarcophagus because I think that it didn't trigger the whole Super H thing, but it's kind of related to that in a roundabout way. So go ahead and let us.
Some time ago, archaeologists in Egypt have found a large sarcophagus. It's not the typical kind of sarcophagus you found in Egypt, because this one had no decorations on it. It was very carefully sealed shut. It was hidden away very carefully, and it had messages to not open it. A huge disaster will happen. Of course, then they opened it. First thing they did was to run away because the sarcophagus released such vile stench that no one was able to stay in the room, so everyone fled.
Oh.
Then, after they returned, they found that in the sarcophagus were 3 skeletons, so not the mummies, as you would expect from Egypt. And those 3 skeletons were flowing red liquid.
Oh, I think I've heard about this, where there are people taking the piss, where they wanted to drink the cursed red liquid.
Yeah, that's the thing. Apparently, some joker on the internet started a petition. Explorers would have to drink said red liquid. It started as a joke.
It was a
But of course,
But
some people.
people started citing it, and include people who did not mean it as a joke, but are dead serious about it.
And apparently, a lot of people were debunking the joke about it being cursed and the sacred energizing energy drink red liquid. It's the case of there's a lot of feces in that.
Well, that's the thing. Hasn't it already been sent to a lab? Because
I don't know.
this seems like to be like the perfect thing you send out to a lab. If I worked at a lab, and specifically one that dealt with biohazards and whatnot, I'd be creaming my pants to get my hands on this. I just hearing about it was like, oh yeah, instant yeah, just instant cream. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. That's the stuff. Oh yeah, a normal person would just only reserve that thing during sex. No, the research would just get an instant orgasm just hearing about something like this. Like, holy shit, yes, this is the thing I've been looking for all my life.
I'm so glad I'm alone in the house at the moment.
Because otherwise,
It's on speakerphone, and people will be thinking, "What the fuck,
Fuck.
are you having like, times over your phone?" I'll come upstairs if you want to do that.
yes, sexy times when it involves mummies. Oh yeah, sexy dead mummies that are bleeding some horrible rancid red liquid that God knows what it is.
I to be honest,
Yeah.
honest the truth, when I read that, it did make my stomach turn. And it takes a lot from my stomach. I would say that I don't have an iron gut, obviously, but it takes a lot for me to think, oh my god, that's actually quite rancid. It really made me feel like I wanted to spew, because that's human remains. That's liquefied essence.
But that's the thing. I'm not sure if it is human remains.
Well, you don't know.
Or at least to the point where it's been in that esophagus for such a long.
From what I've heard, it was sealed, airtight, shut for thousands of years. So
Yeah. So.
Right, it's like a Tupperware where it's been in the fridge for like a piece of cheese in the fridge for like 8 weeks in a airtight Tupperware pot. It's gonna smell rancid, it's gonna look rancid, and it's gonna have juices everywhere. It's cheese. And
Well,
yet
yeah,
there's juices.
but now multiply that by 20,000, because that's essentially what it is. So whatever is in the esophagus, I don't think I think it can barely be construed as biological at this point. The organic components have probably been broken down.
No, oil that we use, or rather gasoline, is in itself an organic matter,
That's true.
and it comes from, it is called a fossil fuel for a reason.
Yeah,
So technically, the human remains that we are more or less cremating and burying in the ground, our ancestors probably going to use us for fossil fuels. As you say, that's exactly what's happened with the sarcophagus.
no, I don't know about
Gasoline type substance.
Con-
Probably
cons-
put it in the car and it'll probably run.
considering that most of us are cremated these days. Yeah, our remains mostly just evaporate, or is the vast majority of the body is just evaporated, so that already accounts for 2/3 of our body. Everything else is turned into either charcoal or just char, and then there's like bits of bones that are still left, and they're usually crushed after the deed. So all you're left with is like some crushed bones and a little bit of carbon. Like after cremation, the average human body will be reduced about 5 to 10 kilograms of matter, which just goes to show just how squishy we are. Like, the human body is so fucking squishy and liquid. So to take that liquid away, there's not an awful lot left.
Bone-ridden red juices of whatever.
Yeah, so yeah, the liquid in that esophagus is probably very akin to oil. I mean, when we dig up oil from the ground, we're not really grossed out, because it's been in the earth so long that it barely even fucking resembles anything organic. It's become something completely different. So maybe this red liquid is just for one thing, oil has been underground under very high pressure. So yeah, whatever was in the esophagus hasn't been under high pressure. So it's basically just over 2,000 years of just organic decomposition. And like I said, it barely fucking resembles anything organic anymore.
You know what's even better? There is a theory the bodies were shut airtightly into the sarcophagus was because they were victims of some particularly nasty disease.
Mm-hmm. Well, that makes sense. That the civilization in at the time didn't want anything to do with them, and they were like, okay, let's make sure that no one ever gets anywhere near into contact with whatever is in this body. I mean,
yeah.
Though
I
that
don't want Egypt to be distributing any more diseases than what they really have, and
Ebola kind of already is.
Wait, isn't that a disease that originated in Egypt?
It did originate in Africa and
Okay. Well, yeah, Egypt is in Africa, yeah. Though typically when people speak of Africa, they refer to sub-Saharan Africa. I mean, when you look at the northern African countries, you're looking more at like a Mediterranean style society than one that's like truly sub-Saharan. I mean, the thing about Africa is that the northern part is like at the Mediterranean Sea, and even though Islam is practiced quite a bit over there, it is quite Mediterranean in a lot of ways. I mean, they basically all live in the coast for one thing, because you don't want to go very deep into the mainland anyway. And then, of course, there's the fucking Sahara, where no one lives. I mean, one reason why I reckon one reason why Morocco isn't really a unified state yet is because even though they claim ownership of Western Sahara, they're also like, yeah, we kind of would like to have this piece of land, but on the other hand, no one fucking lives here. Like,
There are apparently some nomads who want to make the thing their own nation.
well, yeah, and and for all intents and purposes, it probably is theirs already. It's just that Morocco still, haven't claim to it. They're like, no, this is Morocco, and the nomads are like, no, this is ours, and Morocco's like, no, you, and it kind of stops there. It's like, okay, we're just gonna continue living our lives our ways. You can claim this land all you want. We don't care. So yeah, the world map's like, okay, you got Morocco, and then there's a bit that's like disputed. But no one cares because no one lives there except for a few nomads, I guess. It's not like they're controlling a major city or anything. Or at least not to my knowledge. It's not like Catalonia where basically 1/5 or even 1/3 of your nation's economy is like, yeah, we want to be independent. And then Spain's like, no, you. And then they send in the fucking army to basically stop your elections and whatnot. Because
what country was that again? What state?
Spain, and it's Catalonia in Spain.
Oh yeah, you know what? That was on the TV today. Funny.
Yes, because the guy, the former president of that autonomous region, he basically got out of a trial set forth by Germany, I believe. There was something very confluent about that, like that. So, because naturally Germany doesn't really like when one part of the EU is wants to have autonomy. They're like, oh yeah, this part of the EU wants to not be part of this EU country, so they're gonna be.
I get it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because Germans are just forever Nazis.
No, to be perfectly fair to Germany, the existence of the EU is very important to them on a geopolitical level.
Because it's basically the Fourth Reich.
Yeah, it basically is, which is why it's no wonder that there's a lot of anti-EU sentiment. I mean, to Germany, it's vital that the EU exists because it allows them a lot of easy trade with the rest of Europe. But the question is, isn't that the expense of other countries? Because it certainly isn't working out for Italy, I'll tell you that. And now they kind of have like a populist revolt going on in Italy. Like, Italy's not, well, they're not doing great economically, but they weren't doing great to begin with, so it's not like they got much to lose anyway. And interestingly, it's mostly the youth in Italy that's kind of fed up with the EU, opposed to, apparently a lot of anti-Brexit votes during the Brexit thing came from the older generations. So it was mostly just the older people. They were like, yeah, we know what it was like to not be in the EU, and we don't like the EU anymore. So I'd like to get out. In Italy, it's more like the old people were kind of fine with the EU. It was like, yeah, they're giving us a lot of free money, but the younger people in Italy are like, we're getting screwed over by this whole EU thing. We want to get out. So that's kind of interesting. It's kind of the other way around, I guess. And anyway, we somehow started to talk about. Well, it was a good segue because it's kind of an interesting topic. Because the whole world kind of forgot that the Catalonia independence movement is even a thing.
So fast.
But anyway, I don't think there's anything else to add about the sarcophagus. The what now?
Yeah, there's a topic then.
Yeah, there is the thing about the Czechia or Czech Republic. If only we had a Czech co-host right about now.
I mean, I'm pretty damn sure he already knows about this.
He knows about it, but he's not on the episode, so I guess he won't be able to give his 2 cents about it. Anyway, go ahead.
Happened. Recently, the Czech police uncovered a series of underground illegal farms called tigers.
Of all things, it had to be tigers.
Yes, tigers. And there is a massive web of black markets and even restaurants offering the meat of these tigers as specialties, and of course also tiger furs.
Now here's one thing. If tigers weren't a endangered species, I would totally try it. It's like, okay, well, I'm on top of the food chain. Let's try some tiger, just to find out it's probably gonna taste like shit because it's a tiger.
What actually surprises me here, farms were able to grow these endangered species in sufficient numbers to be profitable.
Yeah, because it takes a lot of resources to even grow a tiger. I mean, by the very nature of a tiger, I mean, here's the thing about the domestication and of livestock in general. I'm not even talking about pets livestock. So the reason why humans eat a shit ton of cows and pigs and chickens, one thing they all have in common is that they don't eat meat themselves. I mean, okay, sure, if you feed it, yeah, and if you feed a chicken some chicken, they'll eat it, no questions asked. Like if you have a chicken hopping around, you give them a piece of chicken and they'll eat it. No questions asked. It's like, oh yeah, sure, it's a piece of meat.
An important thing, if you want truly good chicken, like meat, eggs, then you should feed them also insects. Stuff.
Yeah, but can that really be construed as eating meat? Because the point I'm trying to get across here is that what all these animals have in common is that you can grow them really easily. And they're also really easy to domesticate, which is, apparently cows are really easy to domesticate. Like, they would just stick in one place, you feed them, and they just stick around. They don't resist whatsoever because they're cows. And like, oh, this human is giving food, I guess I'll stick around. Just to find out that they're being eaten, but by that time it's too late. Now take a tiger, and in order to grow one tiger, one in parentheses, so one tiger, you need to feed the tiger other animals, and not just for one day. You have to feed it sufficient number of animals in order to get it to a sufficiently good size, and then you can eat it. Which makes this whole operation even more jarring, because
apparently they did get food, like a meat source, from capillaries. You know what a capillary is? I'm not sure if that's the correct English term. It's basically the place where they throw away dead animals.
Okay.
Like if they found out a dog that's been run over by a car, or
okay. So
basically it's the place where they bring them to dispose of their bodies safely, and apparently they got the meat from there and used it to feed the tigers with.
Well, that obviously means that those places are very poorly guarded. If it's that easy to acquire meat from such a place.
Czech Republic.
That all it probably took was just offer whoever was guarding the place a bottle of vodka, and they would just go with it instantly. It's like I'm a Czech person. I'm sitting here guarding this place. Oh, here, have a bottle of whiskey. Not even a bottle. Here, have a shot of whiskey. Oh yeah, sure. I'll drink the whiskey. What are you doing? Don't mind me. Oh, okay. And then they'll just carry on. Oh yeah, don't worry. We're not stealing any dead animals. Just enjoy your free whiskey. Oh, okay. Then just continues to drink down copious amounts of whiskey. But yeah, what I'm getting is that in order to produce one lion, I mean tiger, you need at least 200 times the amount of other meats. So you're basically spending meat to get one piece of meat, which makes it incredibly inefficient as a food source. Because all you need to grow 1 kilo of cow is, well, just have a cow eat grass, which grows really easily. You just put them in a grass field, they'll eat grass, and that grass is converted into meat, and then you slaughter the cow, and then you have meat. Then the cows are even designed in such a way that, or at least the way we domesticate them, we even made them in such a way that, in order to produce milk, they'll have to give birth to another cow. So we're like, okay, let's inseminate this one cow. Then not only are they going to provide meat, they also provide all the milk, which is also a very easy source of food. I mean, the milk that comes from cows is literally designed to make one tiny cow into a big cow. So humans basically drink it to become a big human. Some people drink a little bit too much. I have first-hand experience. I drank way too much fucking milk as a kid, and I paid quite a hefty price for it.
You become lactose intolerant.
No, I didn't. But since milk is quite high in fat, if you guzzle down a carton of milk within every 4 hours, that's gonna have an effect on your health. What I'm saying is, kids, don't drink too much milk, no matter how.
Healthy.
Well, that's the thing. It's not healthy. One glass of milk a day might be good, but I'll argue that even if you only drink something like milk, if you only eat like butter and cheese, you already get more than enough calcium to get through the day. Because here's the thing. Humans don't need to drink milk as adults. As a kid, yes, but by the time you're old enough, well, you're not drinking your mother's milk anymore, because it's essentially what it is. You're drinking another mammal's milk, which was designed to turn a baby cow into an adult cow. And now you as a human are drinking the same substance, so...
Sounds like vegan propaganda to me.
Exactly, it isn't. It's perfectly fine to drink milk. It's tasty, but you don't need it. And also, it's in plenty of products anyway, so there's not really a need to go out of your way to drink milk. Like this whole notion that humans need to drink milk is quite outdated. And probably propped up by the milk industry to get people to drink more milk. Because...
It's a conspiracy. Illuminati confirmed.
Illuminati confirmed. I bet if you zoom in sufficiently on a carton of milk, you see all the triangles everywhere. I wish I had a carton of milk right now. I'm pretty sure I can find all the Illuminati related imagery all over that thing. Anyway, maybe we should end this episode right here now, because
just a very quick announcement.
Mm-hmm.
On the 1st of August, this Wednesday, will be the 50th anniversary of Shonen Jump.
Mm-hmm.
Years ago, on that day, the first issue came out, so that's a big thing.
Yeah, that means the Animus had their Shonen Jumps 50 years ago, and it never went away. Forever. To be honest, I don't have anything else to add on that. Like, I kind of like my Animus in moderation, though. To be honest, I'm not really... Go ahead.
do actually get to release this episode before Wednesday.
Well, sure. I mean, then that's, you know what? Let's release Let's release it on Wednesday. I eventually uploaded last week's episode. I kind of forgot about it, and then you mentioned it, so I was like, oh yeah.
I'll probably pester you with these things more often.
Maybe you should, because sometimes I just plain forget. I'm like, because you know, whenever we do an episode, I need to listen to it and write down the things that happened during the episodes, and then and then release it. But so yeah, that's it. I'm not even sure if Astra's still around. Are you still around, Astra?
She basically wrote that she has to leave.
Yes. So yeah, with Astra gone and Furball completely rendered. I mean, I rendered the shit out of the Furball. He's such a handsome little hamster. So manly. But seriously, you'll beat the shit out of Hamster. I'll tell you that. So yeah, like, favorite, subscribe, give me money. And see you guys next week for yet another retarded episode of Radio Rothingham. And
that is a very handsome hamster.
It is so handsome. All right, with that, I'll end the episode. Thanks, bye.